Welcome back to That Football Stats podcast, and in this one I'm going to preview Manchester United against Brighton. I'm going to give some general thoughts and predictions. We'll start by looking at the form for both teams. 2 victories and 2 defeats for Manchester United. They're going to look to bounce back from that 3-1 defeat at Arsenal. It looks worse than it was. I mean, it's fine margins, isn't it? Literally in football with the offside and what could have been 2 very late goals for Arsenal. 2 away defeats to 2 teams in the top half of the league, in Arsenal and Spurs, and 2 home victories against Nottingham Forest and Wolves. So it's very much more of the same for Manchester United. If you're looking at last season's form and how they did against certain teams, very much more of the same. And this will be a big test for Erik ten Hag. He's had many tests and challenges, hasn't he, in recent weeks on and off the pitch. So Brighton, they top the charts in the Premier League for XG. They've won 3 out of 4 games. They've scored 4 against Luton, 4 against Wolves. They conceded 3 against West Ham, which was a very interesting game, and fair play to West Ham. And you just wonder whether Erik ten Hag might have looked at that game, because I think with Brighton, you've got to concede, regardless of who you are, maybe unless you're Man City, you're not going to have a lot of the ball. And even though Man United are at home, he might look at that West Ham performance and think, okay, there is a way to beat this team and there is a way to get in behind them quickly. You've got to be careful. And they might look to counter. Whether the Man United fans would appreciate that approach playing at Old Trafford is yet to be seen. Brighton bounced back from that result, of course, with a 3-1 home victory against Newcastle. But if Manchester United play in the way they did against Wolves and in the way they played against Nottingham Forest, so their 2 opening home games, the Forest game especially, they were pretty dreadful in defensive areas. There was so much space in that midfield, but we might see the introduction of Amrabat for the first time in a Manchester United shirt. There will be no Anthony on that right wing, so all eyes will be on the team selection to see who comes in for him, whether it'll be a change of system. Maybe they'll go with 2 sort of number 9s in Rashford and Højlund, yet to be seen. Sancho was partying in New York during the international break, so I'm not sure he will come straight back into the team. I think that'll make Ten Hag look a little bit weak, to be honest. He should have to fight his way back into the team. Whether he's up for that fight, again, it's yet to be seen. So I don't think Sancho comes straight back into the team at all. And something that I think is definitely worth mentioning for Brighton is their second half goal scoring record. So they've scored in every second half that they've played. The majority of goals have been seen in the second half in every single game that they've played. But the standout stat is that BTTS has landed in every single second half. Now, it's only 4 out of 4, but they are the only team that this is 100% for, as you can imagine. So if we just look at their fixtures again. So they played Luton Town, it was 1-0 at half-time, ended 4-1. They played Wolves, it was 1-0 at half-time, ended 4-1. They played West Ham, it was 1-3, final score, it was 1-0 at half-time. They played Newcastle, and it was 1-0 at half-time. So it's a really interesting set of results where there's been a goal in the first half in every game, but BTTS has also landed in the second half. They are just a very, very fun team to watch, and I don't think they will come to Manchester United and treat it any differently. They will just play their own way, and that's what I love about Brighton. They're fearless. And we'll just take a look at the odds quickly. We'll do a comparison here. And also, just a shout out to Lewis Dunk as well, who's going to be flying after his very, very solid, very good actually, performance for England. And myself and many others have been shouting for ages that he should be in the team. He should have been in the team for the Euros. I know we did well, but the World Cup. I know we still did well in the World Cup, but you know, players need to be picked on form and on what they're doing on the football pitch, because it's not just that Lewis Dunk is a good defender and he can head the ball away and he can do his job. He can pass a ball. He is playing for a Brighton team that is right up there with Manchester City, in my opinion, in terms of the way they play the game. You could argue that they pass out from the back and they are more unwilling to compromise on that philosophy than Manchester City. Manchester City in Haaland and De Bruyne sort of have a get-out-of-jail-free card sometimes. So at the moment, the odds are quite even. The best odds you'll get for Brighton are 3.2 with Unibet. And it is, Man United at home used to be the case where it would be a 1.5 or 1.4 regardless of who they were playing, unless they were playing a traditional top 6 team. But it just shows how far Brighton have come. We're just going to look at the last 25 games here as well, just to see some of the scoring stats. So 1.33 goals for Manchester United per game, 2.12 for Brighton. That is really good. Failed to score percentage for Brighton is 0. 0-0 percentage is 0. I think it's safe to say we can expect goals in this game. And if we're looking at the form from this season, maybe we can expect second half goals. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're listening on the That Football Stats podcast, then let me know what you think by leaving a review on Spotify or Apple or whatever. If you're on YouTube, then just hit me up in the comments or TikTok or wherever. And as always, thanks for listening.